Hey, this is Jeff McNeil, joined by Doug Davison of the Houston Herald, and we're here to talk about some of the more interesting things in this week's newspaper and go even beyond the words that you find in the newspaper. And Doug, one of the most interesting things of the week is the city has hired an economic developer. The city council gave the green light to do that earlier in the year, I guess last year, and Brad Evans has been named into that position, and big move for the city, isn't it?
It's a really good move because that's something we obviously need. And he's only the second one in the history of the city, I guess.
Which is weird.
It is a little unusual. And we just wish him great luck. I got a feeling that once he gets settled in and gets his feet really on the ground, that he'll do a good job. I really believe it.
I think a lot of the more prominent people in town that have success and stay for a long time are people that are from here or have lived here for a long time. They're invested in the community, and Brad Evans is one of those guys. You know, he's got a family, young family here. He cares about this community. He's lived in this community. Obviously, met a lot of people through his work on the police department. I just think it's a good fit, and maybe he doesn't have yet the schooling for that job, but when you've got the desire and you've got the connections, especially in that position, I see this going pretty well.
Yep, me too. I think he's sincere, like you were alluding to, and once he just learns the ropes, you know, should work out really well. And boy, got a good one to work with, Miss Tona.
Right. It seems like the city is going in a pretty good direction these days. Seeing a lot of things moving and a lot of things happening, police force expanding, you know, just decisions that were needed to be made that are now being made.
Yeah.
And things look pretty positive.
It feels right. It does.
And that leaves a hole. We haven't even gotten to this yet in the newspaper. It leaves a hole on the police department again. And we just made one hire, and here we go again. And obviously they're losing a very good one.
Right. Good chance they'll get another good one, though. That ought to be coming soon, too.
That's down the road in future editions.
Yes.
Well, another thing that you wrote about this week, Doug, is an article that you stumbled upon about a pretty cool thing happening in Texas County that maybe many people don't know about. I know it was something we weren't aware of, and that's Field of Dreams Uganda. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it's an organization based in Kabul. The office is actually at Second Baptist Church. The gentleman that founded it and is still the director of it is Michael Warnicki. And basically, the organization assists or aids children in Uganda through education and soccer. Soccer, of course, being just a huge aspect of culture in Uganda, like it is in a lot of developing countries. Right. And yeah, this is one of those stories where, you know, who knew this was going on in Texas County? It's amazing. They have several staff members in Uganda. They have board members all over the country. And just do a tremendous work. In the short time I've studied about it, I've been really impressed.
So how can people find out even more beyond your story? How could they find out more about the program and get involved if they so chose?
Yeah, and you can get involved. There's a very comprehensive website and Facebook page. There's about 1 million pictures on the Facebook page. So just look for Fields of Dreams Uganda, and you'll find it.
And we'll be sure to tag them in this as well.
You bet. And you know, Michael, or Mike, as he goes by, he's very willing to have volunteers accompany him to Uganda and you know, accomplish things over there. And anybody who's interested in that, he's interested in talking to you.
And I guess this is a good time, we've said it before, but if you know of interesting things going on, newsworthy items, feature-worthy items, shoot us an email, give us a call, walk through the front door, let us know. Many times it might just be that we don't know what is happening, and we would love to spotlight things, positive things that are happening, and let people know the good things that are going on. So give us a heads up and let us know.
That's how this one came up. And somebody suggested, hey, you should look into this. And you know, like you said, we just don't know sometimes. There's so much going on out there.
Well, one final thing we'll mention, Doug, is you wrote a very interesting column this week as it relates to the law enforcement side and the public side of dealing with calls. And basically what it boiled down to is what determines that a situation should involve police and law enforcement response. What determines that? And maybe sometimes we aren't always good as a community filtering what should be called and when they shouldn't be called, because you see this every Monday when you look through the reports.
Yeah, the written reports just starkly illustrate the fact that the officers, whether it's deputies or police, are going out on a lot of silly calls, and there's just no other way to say it. Things that they really don't need to be dealing with, like, you know, my roommate wouldn't share the Doritos, or, you know, there's someone in the basement shaking the house, you know, but wait, the house doesn't have a basement. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. It really is. And it's just something we really need to pay more attention to before you pick up the phone and call for an officer. Just really consider whether it's necessary.
And I'm afraid many times people use law enforcement as a threat against the party that they're with. You know, hey, if you don't share the remote right now, I'm going to call the police. You know, and then somebody calls their bluff, and they have to actually make the call.
They end up calling the police, right? And then, of course, Murphy's Law, when the officer is out there chasing down that silliness, then a real call happens 29 miles away in the biggest county in Missouri, and, you know, therefore there's not going to be the quickest response time that could happen. So,
and the law enforcement guys, they're always strung so thin, and they've always got so much volume to deal with. And then when they have to respond to basically these silly calls, as you put it, that really nailed it. They're just calls that don't warrant a response from authorities. So that's just something we need to be aware of as citizens, just to make sure that when we call them, that it's an emergency, or it's about to be an emergency situation.
Right.
You know, if it's these tiny little domestic situations that just be talked out, and as you point out in your column too, a lot of times they respond and then no one wants charges filed.
Right.
So okay, why are they here other than just using them as a pawn piece, as a threat, or to get your way?
That's it. And you know, the officers don't have a choice in the matter. They can't pick and choose which calls they respond to. They got to respond to every one of those service calls.
Right, and they do, and you see it every week. And if you wrote every report in the newspaper, we'd have to double our size at least.
At least. It'd be like publishing a phone book every week,
Wow. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you hopping here on Facebook Live, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.